All right. It says we're live. Check, 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 check. Yeah. And since I did almost 5 hours last night, I am not going to do a long one today. So we're going to greet people. We're going to try to get right into it. And before we get started, I'm required to play this.
What's up, boss? You believe that? You hold on. Oh no. Do you believe in that? Huh? Oh no. Ah! Oh no. Come on. Do you believe?
And required to play that one. And I want to play one more. One more. See if we can find it. Just a little promo for the good doc. Just a little promo. And then we'll get started. I have to download my promo, put it in uh, my sections.
And you missed, jammed into one album.
I'll put it on the list.
But now I'm cool. I didn't make it bad, playing by the rules. I come up hard, babe, but now I'm fine. I'm taking trouble, sugar, moving out of line. I come up hard, but that's okay. Trouble man, don't get in my way. I come up hard, babe. I've been for real, babe.
All right. Now we can get started. Welcome a couple of people. I'm listening. What's going on? Craig. Oh, you appreciate it, Craig. Joe's, what's up? Gundam, what's up? Toya with the apple, what's up, babe? Ryan Will, what's up? Money Motion, Legacy for C. Is it Legacy for C? Okay. Oh, Legacy Force. Okay, I think that's what it is. Black Toxic Masculinist. I heard that. R Jizzle, Death Racer, Sam C. Willa, what's going on? I get the watermelon and the apple. Okay. Ken Seen Red, what's happening? The Black Pill, what's going on? Juice 4, what's going on? Scorpion Black, what's happening? Wrench Turner, what up, man? Gerardo Boy, what's happening? See, there was one strays last night. That was a hornet's nest. He had them all worked up. They worked themselves up. Raheed, what's going on? Jimmy, what's going on? All right, this is an AMA. It's your show. So start with the questions. Since it's asked me anything. Let's see if we can find anything. Uh yeah, they got themselves worked up last night. Okay. They one thing led to another, and then we got to reparations. And what I'm learning out, because I don't really try not really to deal with domestic politics because people get emotional. But as I delve into it, you start finding out how non-literate people really are about politics and how the political system and the apparatus works. It's even people that think they're knowledgeable because you watch too much goddamn CNN and MSNBC and Fox and shit like that, and they don't give you real politics, man. So you can't get it from a video. You're gonna you have to read. Okay, if you're gonna do politics, you're gonna do policy. You're gonna have to read, and a lot of people really don't read. They don't read enough sources. Thoughts on the motives behind the few black ones that are going after the brick lady. Um, oh, the ones that are few going after brick lady because because this kind of scandal is going to damage the reputation of black women, and the few black women that are going after Brick Lady care about their reputation and care about the truth. There's always going to be people like that. Instead of doubling down on a lie. So that's really what it is. That's really all it is, okay? Because trust and believe, man. Before the manosphere, it might have been the black manosphere might have been one thing, but thing is, we know the black manosphere is going to eat black women alive with this shit. And some black women, even the black women that don't agree with us, see that okay, if we don't get out in front of this and kind of tell the truth and go after this lady, the black manosphere will continue to eat us alive with this lie. Okay, they will. And every time it happens, this shit's not going to die because now instead of it being just a local thing or a state thing or even a national thing, this is a global thing now. This stuff is going to go global, and they know it. And the more they double down on bullshit and not calling this chick out on her lie, the worse it's going to get. Trust and believe, I love it. I really do. I love it. Just like I loved it when they went in on Passport Bros, right? Because they turned a small thing. Black women turned a small thing to a global thing, right? So now Passport Bros, instead of being a localized thing amongst a small group of people, it's a global thing because now white men and Asian men and all kind of men are getting in, calling themselves Passport Bros. They turned it from uh, uh, a small hashtag to an international movement. So I'm glad. I'd love to see it. Okay, to let them get behind Brick Lady, especially when we got all the winning cards. I was listening to Dinah's panel on, and a woman asked how the black community can solve the migrant crisis in New York City. What would your response be? The black community cannot solve it because we didn't start it. Okay, this is a national movement because they said it. They don't have enough white people, and the only source of white people are Latin immigrants. So they're gonna. So we didn't bring them in. We have no power to bring them in or keep them out. Okay, so this is a national problem. It's not just a national problem; it's an international problem. They were already sending Latin Americans to Spain already, to Spain and Canada. So now, so a lot of these immigrants are actually going to transition from here and go to Europe because there's not enough white people. So basically, Biden has already set up 100 immigration centers so people can actually, so Latins can actually apply online to actually immigrate. So you can't stop. So black people can't do shit. So I don't know why they asked that question. If black people have that much power, they can solve. Why don't we solve the problems here, like homelessness, joblessness, and education for black boys? Fuck what the immigrants do. That you don't have any power over that shit. I'm planning on getting my passport and traveling between Colombia and the U.S. to get comfortable traveling to Medellin. It's dangerous making some people don't make Latin America sound like it's not a war zone, but you have to be careful. Unless you really know the language and you really know the people and you're really careful, it is dangerous. Okay, so I get it. It's a former drug state. Okay, you have to be careful where you go. You got to be careful what you do, and you're gonna have to be careful when you go out at night. Don't be out there wandering around uh, like a babe, a lamb, okay, to slaughter. You wouldn't wander around New York City or Chicago in the middle of the night, okay, drunk. Okay, you got to be careful. It's not one of the safest destinations on the planet. Let's put it that way. Not even Latin America. Okay, yeah, not Venezuela, but Brazil's probably safer than that. Peru, there's a lot of well, there's a lot of safer places to go rather than Colombia. Colombia is dangerous. Okay, you gotta appreciate that. Same thing with Guatemala. Guatemala City, inside GC, the main city, 4 million people. There's a danger factor to it, right? Mexico in certain cities are dangerous. It's dangerous. Okay, not only from the people but the cops. So you got to be careful where you go. Appreciate that. SLM Fitness. Was 9/11? Yes, it was. It's not even a question. I tagged you in a post I made. I don't know if you were interested, but I didn't see it. So if you tagged me, I didn't see it. It hasn't shown up. Looks like France is planning on an invasion. Good luck with them. Good luck with that. I don't know how France is going to have an invasion without the United States. Okay. Good luck with that. The disaffected problem, black folks, is an exploitable problem. I'm surprised it hasn't been exploited large scale yet. How do you know it hasn't? It's just not as obvious, but it already has. What's up, Johnny? Tall Lee? They're finally admitting that the oil-based production is on the decline to the lack of investment. How will the impact the automation, especially the advent of the bricks? Oil-based production? You talking about here in the United States? I don't know what the question is. What's up, AL? I work in automation. It's not good. Well, it can't go anywhere. Yeah. Basically, automation is the next phase. If the automation declines because of lack of energy, guess what? Your whole civilization does too. And nobody wants to see that, right? Unless you don't like your standard of living. I agree with this. Thought the same. I thought they weren't gonna. They want to know solutions when we in the thick of it. Well, okay, I guess that's not aimed toward me. How do I learn to collect information like you? What questions do I ask myself before I start searching? You start whatever question. Normally, one question leads to another. Okay, and it's easier now than when I did it because when I did it, I had to go to the library and I had to read whatever sources I could get my hands on. Okay, with the internet, it's really easy. It basically you see what one side is saying. Say the Ukraine, right? Whatever the Ukraine is saying, and the United States is saying, what the West is saying. See what the Russians and the Chinese are saying with the same thing, right? And then you try to find people in the middle. And normally, whatever the conflict is, that's just the start of it, right? There's other factors that go along with it, and you just start reading. Okay, you start collecting information, start reading, and you start pulling threads. And one thing always leads to another, right? So if you see something, the question that you can't answer, try to answer that question, and that'll lead to another question and another question. And as you follow the trail downward of this whole, just like a big old puzzle piece, right? You start dropping in pieces, you start seeing a clearer picture, and that's how you start. So, but got to remember, I've been doing this for God, 35 years. You know, I've been putting in 20 hours a week doing this shit for 35 years. Okay. You can't make up for that. So be patient and just start asking questions and try to answer, go on the internet and try to answer those questions. Yeah. Yeah. You want more for less. Of course, just like anybody else. Of course. Not sure if anyone does programming or manufacture PLCs. Okay. Okay, that's you talking about somebody else. Yeah, it's basically that's the next step, man. They just wonder how many people put out of work. Oh, awesome stream. Okay, reparations bag being fumbled. Yes, much like Jackson State fumbled the bag for with Deion Sanders. Man, I was looking at that shit, man. Looking at I forget his name, right? And it's just like a UFC fight. The ESPN was at Boulder, Colorado for Colorado State. Okay. And say, man, and basically all the eyeballs and attention and all that kind of stuff, you never saw that at Jackson State because they didn't appreciate him. I just just pisses me off, man, that they fumble their bag like that, man. It really does. If energy goes up at some point, tech is more costly than no, it's not more costly than human labor. Okay, it is not. Okay, it is not. Believe it or not, it is not. How should I go about learning the truth about civil rights? I keep running to feminist revisionists. We gave you the basic books. Okay, start with if basically you start with 1945 and you start with Eisenhower, the Eisenhower Doctrine, and 1945 with the integration of the military. And then go with Eisenhower in 1950, 53 when he 53 when he first got elected. And if you start reading books around that time, you'll start piecing together civil rights. It's not that hard. How do you get into PLC programming? Uh, Government and unions are trying to relegate against automation AI, but people are whining and working their way out of jobs. It's going to happen anyway. It's just a matter of time. The thing is, you can't put everybody out of work at the same time without some kind of revolution. They already know the stuff is already here. In fact, they were already uh, uh, producing artificial babies in Japan and places like that. So it's already here. It's just a matter of how much they're going to accelerate this at one time. ChatGPT was just the beginning of it because it's not about factories or physical labor. It's more like what is it? Intellectual labor. You know, offices, lawyers. What is it? Uh, Law assistants, right? People like that. That's what it's going to replace. Filling out forms. Okay. My grandson, they're transitioning to a split classroom where a lot of some of this stuff is online. Okay, he has to learn how to type now because a lot of his lessons are going to be online from now. He's in the 6th grade, so it's going to happen. On farm is tricky with the environmental concerns. For you know, it doesn't. Well, fracking at the end of the day, man, to keep your civilization going, it's not going to matter. Okay. They will be careful if they can. If they can't, then they won't worry about it. Look at the Chinese. People with secret clearance with cybersecurity can be had. What pay can be had? Okay, you take somebody else. Uh, Appreciate you. Will the USA leave Syria at Bashar Assad's demand? They're mostly out already, and the reason that USA is still there is minor because the BRICS controlled the whole region except for outside of Israel, from Egypt, from really from Sahel all the way across into China, with the exception of Israel. Basically, the BRICS actually own the whole region. So the United States being in Syria means little to nothing. Okay, means little to nothing. They were trying to prevent it. Means little to nothing. Did you see the 1.5 trillion lithium deposit discovered in the Oregon Nevada border? No, I did not, but it's good to see it. So they're gonna need it because if they're gonna separate from the rest of the world, they're gonna need to produce their own shit. But who's gonna mine the lithium? It's amazing one can learn on the internet if one is not focused on Big Booty Brenda. That is true. And well, basically, most men are not really looking for Big Booty Brenda. Okay, most guys are most guys are really looking at Fox and CNN and shit like that. Men look at sports way more than Big Booty Brenda. Okay, if Big Booty Brenda could compete with the NFL, the NBA, and stuff like that, then yeah. But Big Booty Brenda is not bringing in trillions of dollars. Okay, they're not. Should we expect more layoffs in tech and white collar sector in 2020? Yes, yes. It's already happened in 2023. I don't think it'll last that long. It doesn't seem like it because you got politicians that are already standing on line, like I think Bernie Sanders, and I think it's a senator in Michigan that are already behind the UAW. So I don't think it'll last that long. I don't think it'll last that long. Tech being so cheap, why is there a commercial real estate crisis? It's okay. It's because guess who owns most of the commercial real estate? Okay, called the banks. What happens to the banks if commercial real estate collapses? Hmm? Have you thought about that? Yeah, human labor costs way more. Way more. Okay, people think that your wage is just is the only thing. You pay taxes, the corporation that hires you pays taxes, then the benefits package like Social Security and all that kind of stuff. Basically, your wage is only 40% of the total package that you get that your employer has to pay out. Any large employer, anyway. Dion was going to leave no matter what. But the thing is, okay, John, let's put it this way. Okay, let's just take a gander, right? Say Dion plays out his entire 5-year contract. He's gonna leave, right? Okay. The city of Jackson gathered, earned $40 million in revenue every freaking game. Okay. Just every weekend that Jackson State played. $40 million came in. 40 million. How much did you lose? All you had to do was honor your contract. You fumbled the bag. You could have sweetened the pot to try to encourage them to stay. You're supposed to compete. Okay? Supposed to compete. If he's going to leave, he's going to leave. But the thing is, while he's there, you take advantage of what he has instead of shitting on him. Capiche? You drop the fucking bag. Okay? Stop trying to take up for him. You dropped the goddamn bag. That's obvious. He dropped the goddamn bag. That can't be more obvious than that. Basically, my last video on him, right? Basically, Jackson State's viewership in a one game, I beat what 5 or 6 what is it Big 5 games, right? 5 or 6, just outright beat him. You had 1 million viewers. Okay, those are just eyeballs. Basically, you're selling out your freaking stadium. You're bringing people from out of town. You had a whole row of Coach Prime seats that you charge for. You dropped the fucking bag. You could have sold merchandise. You dropped the goddamn bag. That's your stupidity. It's like Apple stock at $2. You don't believe in it. It goes to be 1,000. Okay, drop the goddamn bag. Stop taking up for these goddamn people. Okay, thanks, Johnny. All right, USA producing more oil, sweet crude in recent history. Though it's being exported to Asia. Well, oil goes all over the place. The issues are refiners equipped to process our own oil. Actually, Venezuelan heavy oil is actually produced here too. Until you know, we're actually a lot of your cruise ships and a lot of other places actually a lot of your diesels produced with heavy oil, and a lot of the oil used to come from heavy crude used to come from Venezuela. So, um, United States can actually refine any kind of oil. Okay, they can, and they do. The lighter is easier to produce than the Saudi oil and sand stuff. It is, but we have the technology to produce all that stuff. The thing is that basically diesel actually produced from heavier oil, and you need heavier oil and denser oil to produce a certain kind of diesel. Okay, like for cruise ship, they use that's just like tar. Okay, but you need heavier crude to actually produce that kind of shit. So you need all that stuff. Warp drive, warp drive. What do I find? Unbiased information regarding BRICS. I can find the ZM Pro Western Flunkies and okay, I'll give you. It's called the Asia Times is a good place to start. Okay, Asia Times is a good place to start. The China Daily is a good place to start. RT is another place. You want a neutral site for as far as the BRICS. I've shown the Duran. Okay, if I've shown the Duran. Okay, uh, if you want, look up Michael Hudson. Lots of places, okay? I give you guys a lot of sources. You guys don't pay attention to them. You can produce electrolytes from sodium, which is a byproduct of salt, which means you don't need to find lithium. It's bullshit, okay? Can't produce enough of them. If that was the case, they'd be doing it already. If you invest in your body young and you gain back when you if is it yes you do because when you're young you just say lifting weights, right? Okay, it takes a long time to build up tendons, and if you're younger, when you build them up, you get less tear, you get less wreckage, and your body gets trained to a certain kind of athleticism, right? If you run, right, your heart, your cardiovascular system, all that kind of stuff gets built in. Okay, your body will adapt to it. Okay, and that makes your body last longer as you go on. The reason that athletes die, there's only so much you can put can actually compete at the 1% level. All your top caliber athletes that compete at a 1% level. Okay, And when they downgrade and they slow down, your body will last longer because you eat better, your heart's stronger, your muscles are stronger, your um, all your blood vessels are more open, all that kind of stuff that your body gets used to. And your body has memory. Your body's not a dumb machine, right? It retains memory. So if you worked out and you stretched your body out when you were younger, right, it remembers. So when you go back to it, your body can actually recall and remember and actually start reproducing those kind of bodies and those kind of chemicals and hormones to actually get yourself up to it. And plus your psychological state. Okay, if you're used to being uncomfortable, okay, at a higher level, so just staying in shape is not that hard. Okay, um, some people can't, like, even now, man. um, even riding the bike. Okay, if I want to, I can still ride have a get in shape and go on a 20-mile bike ride because I was used to working out when I was younger. So yeah, is it hard? It get harder when you get older, yes. But thing is, you still retain a lot of that stuff. What's up, Snowman? When oil is too expensive, people stop driving cars. From what I know, with green energy, it's not at the level to replace oil yet. How is feasible it is to keep the machines powered with in such a situation? That's what they're trying to work out now. Okay, if Europe would be doing it if it could, right? That Europe is a test. Europe is declining because they can't get enough of oil and gas. So they've been trying to go 100% green for the last 20 years. If they could have done it, they would have already done it. Retirement, healthcare, pension, all that kind of stuff's all built into your package. Wrench knows what I'm talking about because he has to put those kind of packages together. You know, when we talk about a package, you know, in this kind of environment, especially with that state run, you're basically what you look at is, as far as salary, is just a portion of it. Sometimes it's 30, sometimes it's 40%, right? Sometimes it can be 50. But thing is, when you look at your entire package, say um, I was younger, I was making $25 an hour, but my package was 70. Retirement, retirement, health care, all that crap, all the stuff the employer had to pay out of their pocket, including what they paid me. My whole entire package was $70 an hour. People don't realize that. So it's more to it than that. I wish it wasn't. So a machine doesn't need health care. A machine doesn't need retirement. A machine doesn't need to have 4 weeks vacation, okay? And sick leave and sick time, okay? It doesn't need that, okay? It works more than 8 hours. It don't pay it overtime. There's a lot of things that go into it. My local corporate news media recently reported that Social Security is accusing many people of overpayment. In this admission, Biden government is now broke. It's been broke. So what are you talking about? It's now broke. Been broke. Okay. Social Security, there is no money in the Social Security funds. There's only bonds that the United States has to pay out. Okay. They raided the Social Security fund back in '83 with Reagan. BGS, if the banks collapse, it's come in and bail them out, just like they did in SVC, the Silicon Valley Bank. Remember, if the banks collapse, it'll cause a ripple effect, because all the banks are in trouble. Okay, if the banks collapse, and they don't fix it, then you have a ripple effect. And then one thing you do not want to see, especially in a cashless society like this one, is a bank holiday. You tell me, if you go 5 days and your card doesn't work, your debit card doesn't work, what's going to happen? You tell me. Are you prepared? I have no idea what that is, Ray. Ray, do you have you got a wrench, Ray? I don't know if you have a wrench. Let me give you a wrench because I did not get. You should have a wrench. Uh, if not, email it to me because I don't have time to go through it right now. They do work off the power grid, but the thing is, they don't have enough batteries for the goddamn cars that they have now, much less the trucks and the other cars. with 90% of the cars that are gas powered, how you gonna replace all those cars with batteries? You don't have enough batteries. They can't. Tesla cannot produce enough batteries for all their cars. Yeah, Dion was gonna leave, but he was gonna help JSU, and they was gonna help him build up his rep. A win-win. They didn't even do that in JSU. Nope, they did not. They stole it. They stole his money, man. You couldn't even keep your word. You cheated him. I mean, how many people would work? Would you work for anybody the employer that cheats you out of your money? Would you? Any prediction when you have nope, there's no prediction. I don't think it'll last that long. I really don't. There, as I said, they are and only will 5 to 10% labor across every sector. Exceptions were government and healthcare. That is true. You know, um, what's going on, Rodney? Keep me up to date about. I keep hearing this increase in COVID, man. So, with this new bug going around, man. So, keep an eye on it, man, and keep me up to date because I'm getting rumbles. What should the younger generation looking for investment opportunities? Crypto, you got to be careful. Crypto, if you want to gamble, gold is always good. Stocks, you're gonna have to be careful. And resources, production, stuff like that. Water production depends on your what? On your skill. Okay. If water and production depends on what you're producing. Water is basically, if you're gonna do water, basically you're talking about farming. Okay. I'm about farming for the most part, or get into niche products like water tech, which if you know how to filter water, get into hydraulics. Guess what? I would say half of the water system in the United States have not been upgraded. They're gonna have to be just like Jackson, just like Flint, Michigan. That's just gonna have to be upgraded. And if you know how to do that and pipe fit and all and handle water systems, they're gonna need you. Infrastructure. I nailed it on that video. Okay. Oh, okay. Basically, the thing is, what how at some point, people won't be able to afford these things, man. Basically, the price is going to outrun people's ability to actually afford it. And basically, if they're talking about restricting employment, man, who's going to buy these houses or rent these apartments at what price? Okay, uh, 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 what's her name said it a long time ago, man. When I heard it, right, houses have no values if people don't have jobs. Okay, you can't keep these things in the air forever, right? Especially at 6, 7% interest. Don't forget that they was hiding tickets that yeah, from Dion. Yeah, so they had to pay him. They're screwing him. Yeah, well, yeah, that's 10 years ago. Where it's come from now? Come with because you replaced it with what? Shale oil, fracking. Okay, that's what you replaced it with. And then will it then get jump off the bat in 2024? It doesn't look like it, does it? Jackson State Administration jerk prime. Yeah, that's why he left. I would have left too. Is it possible to find petrol in the asteroid belt? Yeah, it is. The hydrocarbons in the asteroid belt. I don't know if it's liquid. It'd probably be a gas or something like that, or some kind of precursor. But there's stuff that's there. Younger generation, guys, should get with engineers and build products to sell. Investing is on the downturn. Now people need to create. That's not well. Basically, your government screwed you because they didn't invest in engineers. Engineers just don't pop up out of nowhere, man. You guys got this twisted. Okay, your government and your society has to invest in these people. These kind of people, these kind of kids are very expensive to produce. They don't come out of nowhere. If you don't invest in them, you don't produce them, they don't pop up in adulthood. Okay, it's very difficult to learn this shit in adulthood. Let me tell you. Okay, I'm one of them kids. It's very difficult to learn this shit when you have to work. Okay, you have to basically these kids have to start at 3, 4, 5 years old into this and train them and get them socialized into this pattern of thinking. They're not created out of nowhere. You're not going to catch up with the Chinese. They've been producing a million engineers and programmers a year for the last 25 years. You can't catch them. They use denser fuel and the engines are more efficient. Technology being cheaper over time is only okay. That's true. That's true. That's what's happening. I look at Michael Hudson. I sub to the Duran Cool channel. Yeah. You got Scott Ritter. You got Garland Nixon. You got what is it? What is it? I'm trying to remember the name of the cast on Rumble. There's a couple people on Rumble. You can actually, if you're on Telegram or something like that, Pepe Escobar. My woman is always babies me. I have a car, degree, job, home. Why is she treating me like this? Okay. Yeah, because a woman's job, if she loves you, she's gonna mother you. That's you got. That's part of you have to accept it. She's gonna mother you. That's her job. That's what she knows how to do. If she loves you, she's gonna try to mother you. So you have to push back against it. If she babies you and she's black, she can be grateful, man, because trust and believe, black women do not baby their men. Maybe their sons, but not their men. The Mexican government find ET, Lafayette could be El Capo. Well, we have to. The thing is, it got to be verified. I don't believe shit without verifying it. Yeah, there's some degree for okay. He's talking about being athletic. What's up, Detroit? Smartest man on the web. Okay. All right. That's why UPS contract says 105K. That's the entire package, benefits, pay, and retirement. And plus, UPS was smart. They had the United States over a bag. They had to negotiate that, right? Otherwise, your whole delivery system would have collapsed, and you don't have enough brick and mortar stores to make up the gap. So they had to. Well, when they verify this stuff, I'll believe it. I got to be verified. Okay. Yep. Yep. It's just a matter of time. Most of we are in a we don't only 6%, 16% of the economy is manufacturing, right? Most of it is service sector, right? And an AI can take over the job of a service sector employee in minutes, really. So if you're sitting down at a desk like most people are and doing this kind of service, it's easy to actually replace people. Self-driving cars are already here. Self-driving trucks are already here. It's just a matter of them be having enough trust into releasing this stuff and willing to accept the outcomes in case the truck hits somebody or crashes into somebody or that kind of stuff. Once Congress says, okay, we'll willing to accept the liability, basically you're gonna see self-driving cars and trucks all over the place. AB Media beaming in on the Transporter 7. There are 10,000 adults every day in the U.S. turning 65. However, you see in major universities and colleges where young people are refusing to attend college, seeing it as a waste of time, and they made it too expensive. Okay, way too expensive. Nobody wants to spend $120,000 to go to school and can't pay back when there's no job. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Keep an eye on it. It's not as I was telling somebody that it's uh it's probably more contagious, but it's not as nearly as severe as it used to be. Trust and believe, man. I've seen people with COVID, right? Like my mother had it. Okay, trust and believe. It was touch and go for a second. So people don't believe that shit is real. That shit's real. I've had people that around me die from that shit. My daughter had it for a second, and my daughter was really sick for like 2 weeks behind that shit, and she's in her early 30s, so that shit's real. So people say it's not real, down that shit's real. They kind of keep coming out with these. Actually, no. This is just the mutations from the existing strands. Hopefully, the Chinese did the right thing and destroyed those lines, especially them lines that should never see the light of day. Because trust and believe, you got a baby, okay? And Rand Paul, and go back and listen to that that the question and answer with Rand Paul and Dr. Fauci, right? You got the fucking baby, the big boy. Okay, the big boy kills about 30%. Okay, that's the big boy. That's the one that didn't make it out. You got a baby. The baby's severe enough. The baby, everybody I talked to said the baby was pretty much didn't have what they call a what it didn't have a load. Okay, it didn't have the DNA load, right? Basically, what you had is the carrier, and the whatchamacallits, the spike proteins are bad enough, but those things don't do the damage. The big boy that does the damage, that one didn't get out, and thank God. That's what Trump was scared of. That the big boy had to actually escape. That escapes, you're gonna have 20 to 30% fatality. So a third of your population could have been gone. Okay. So say pray to your God of understanding that they don't that stuff is destroyed and they don't really shit like that. Shannon Green, good afternoon. I have a question for you. If you were a young man playing college basketball again, how soon enthusiastic would you be about playing in the Big Ten coming from the Pac-12? Um, Depends on the school. Okay. I would say depends on the school. If you're coming from the Pac-12, especially one of the main schools like Stanford, UCLA, Cal, not as much, but USC, UCLA, you have a better chance to actually going to the pros because if you're near a pro city, okay, where you actually play with pros, especially during the summertime, have a much better chance after matriculating to the NBA. But it depends on your school. Everybody knows where the basketball schools are. But if not, go. After that, if you're talented enough, the NBA will find you. If you're talented enough, it doesn't matter where you go. If you that dude, the NBA will find you. They find people all over the world. They have find people in middle school. If you're that dude, the NBA will find you. The United States has set sent $200 to Ukraine. Clearly, Ukraine is losing the war to Russia. Meanwhile, the average American can't afford health care. The cost that is true, but thing is, you have to be on my Patreon, right? Because the war was not the object. Okay, the Ukraine war to go into battle was not that wasn't the real war. The real war is actually going on with the BRICS and the G20 and the G7. That's the real reason. Okay, I'll give you that. But you got to be on my Patreon. We went over this, like a year ago, well before we got into this. Ukraine had no chance of beating Russia. Russia is a peer power. Okay, basically, the only people who can actually go in and actually trump down Russia in a battle is NATO with the help of the United States. Okay, that's the kind of force it would take to actually defeat Russia. Ukraine has no chance at that. Those likes up. Yep. Speckled T. Okay. All right. All right. I thought you had a wrench though, Ray. Maybe not. While I'm at it, let me get Wrench Turner a wrench. And as moderator. And I thought Ray had a wrench. Okay. Maybe he doesn't. Okay. Well, we'll do this. We'll try this another day. Come on. How am I not seeing? Oh, there he is. I'm saying, how come I'm not seeing MS Delta? April so said, do you know how much about California labor laws? If so, how are some of these companies getting away with paying employees straight pay, no OT at all? It depends on whether you're a corporation or you're 1099. Okay. Okay. There's different levels. All right. I want to hear a multicellular argument from a different galaxy, not this fragment mess or craft of some sort. You know what? If you know, if you find fossils of an alien here and there, and said, okay, all well and good. Just like the basically, really, man. Why don't you do what everybody else does with King Tut, man? Put them, pack them up, put them on display, send them all the way around the world to different museums, have people come look at them, okay, and have scientists come and check because you can form anything to look like anything, man. Um, where's the artifacts? Where's the craft? Where's the other stuff that goes along with the mummy? Why did these bodies survive in the form that they're in? Makes no sense to me. Will Russia implement score? No, if they were going to do that, they'd have done it already, man. They could level Kiev within a week if they wanted to. They haven't because they don't want to. In fact, Putin has gotten a lot of headache from his military by not going full force. You ever see the? Yeah, it's not going to happen anytime soon. But I say about 30 years, it's going to lose its reserve world reserve status for something else. Will take about 30 years. Did you know the cartels are making killing off migrant crisis with smuggling? They make $13 billion a year. I think that was before recent events. Well, you know what? Um, let's put it this way. Okay, it's hard enough to if you can't sneak drugs in, okay, and they get interdicted. How can you sneak people in without seeing you? You got satellites that cover the whole globe. You can't see people crossing the fucking border. Get the fuck out of here. You know they're coming. And the thing is, if you really don't want them here, what are they gonna eat? They didn't come here to starve. They got to work. Who hires these people? What about all the fake social security system? You give them driver's license so they could drive. So you want them here. The things you want to keep them cheap. That's all. So Brock at China, Mr. Opportunity past you. What you think the propaganda as the Chinese phone hype? Mr. Opportunity passed U.S. in what? Some things they've already passed U.S. in. Yeah. And we do, but thing is, that's a national problem. Okay, it's an educational problem. Okay, everybody else can do it except us because we didn't want that many engineers and scientists. We would rather buy them on the cheap through H-1B visas. This is capitalism doing things on the cheap. I met my animal for the first time last night, and I wrote down and what I remember from my dream. How do I have an actual conversation with her? She can't always respond, but you can talk to her. If you start talking to her regularly, she'll answer back eventually. Okay, just start talking to her. Well, you be expected. Well, it's called an acceptable loss, Juice. If printing excessive money is partially the reason why the economy is fucked up, how would the UBI work without it? Okay, I'll say this one more time. Oppo, get your pencil out, right? The UBI is an emergency situation, right? If you are $200 quadrillion in debt, you can't settle it. You have to do what? Call a debt jubilee that wipes out all debts. But all your pension plans, Social Security, all your social stuff will get wiped out because it's debt based. How do you keep people alive until you can reset your system? It's called universal basic income. Okay? That's what it's for. In his experience, yeah, well, it's here too. It's not as severe. Craig just said so. It's here, but it's more like a flu or chest cold than it is the old fashioned. It's gonna kill you within a couple of weeks. Self-driving trucks can run on either. It doesn't matter. The fuel source or the drive source doesn't matter. A self-driving car or truck with brakes and steering system and accelerator can run on anything. It doesn't matter. Okay, most your cars, you drive by wire. Most of your cars, you don't directly interact with your engine or your brakes. Okay, it's done by electronics. Just like a big old jumbo jet. It runs on the fuel, but guess what? It's fly by wire. The guy basically the pilot's not turning the flaps himself or gunning the engines himself. That's electronics. For now, yeah, we did. Less people. Oh, proving them wrong is not the word, man. It's embarrassing. They don't even want to. JSU doesn't even want to talk about it anymore because they were trying to shit on him. Don't be surprised if they started you that weed becomes nationalized. Weed is pretty much nationalized as we speak, man. It's pretty much decriminalized in like 90% of the states. In the multipolar world, the can the U.S. survive when BRICS is steadily growing? You'll survive. You just won't have the same standard of living. This is a steady decline of 500 years of dominate. They've only dominated the world for the last couple hundred years. It's not 500. So stop believing white supremacy. What up, Emmanuel? I get a few more minutes. See if we find some good questions. Okay. Bones like calcium, can reshape them and make a face that look human. Well, how do we know what they're made of, man? All we see is some sandy-looking creatures in a box. What's up, Mr. Tolbert? Elon Musk says his brain chip company will make the paralyzed walk and the blind see that it's possible. I'm not privy to the drama in my family, but considering how broken the black family is, having a cookout barbecue reunion with 3 out of wedlock moms, it would be a mess. It is. Well, that's been the case for a very long time, and we don't have the social graces or social restrictions to keep people in check anymore. People say what they want. Is Venus in your natal chart the same as your animal in Jungian psychology? Your animal is your own personality. So your animal will more likely be your moon in your chart rather than your Venus, because your animal is in your unconscious, and your moon is the personality, or the emotional part of your unconscious. So more likely be your moon rather than your Venus. Mexico's cloud chasing with the men in black. Yeah, well, it could be. Could be. Yeah, if they produce them, I would like to see it. Took a phone call, had to catch up. Thank you everyone for answering my UBI question. Okay. We are not prepared to meet aliens. Why not? Why not? Why not? If the aliens are already here, they're already here. Okay. Well, meeting them, there's people that already know about them. So if they're here, they're here. And people have been prepared to meet them for a very long time. And so if they're real, produce them, or they should produce themselves. Okay. Johnny Vegas, appreciate you. Okay. Mr. Tolbert, appreciate you. BT, appreciate you. Okay. As always, MS Delta, appreciate you. Greg, appreciate you. Swift, thank you. So, the thing is, we don't even know what these things are made of, man. All we know is we have 3 shapes sitting in a box until they're examined. Okay. by somebody that's neutral, then we can't even begin to know what they are. But at least you have an image, especially in this day and age, man. Hell, they could be, they could be anything. I'm surprised they don't get up and walk around. What's your take on Jeezy and Jenny Ma's divorce? Sign of the time that I think, and plus it's showbiz. I think she needed to have. She's 40. She needed to have a couple of babies, and she needed to have them with a, with a star. And I think that's part of her brand. So, and I think that's part of his brand too. So they both got kids. So I guess plus he's a high value dude in the entertainment. He's got more than one woman. So it worked for a while. They had a couple of kids. They had a family. Okay, now they can get divorced and they can go their own ways because they got kids now. I think they both wanted kids. Both your shadow, your animal is in your shadow, Caleb. Your animal's in your animal's in your shadow. That's where your shadow. That's where your unconscious is. It's in your shadow. So it's more tied to your moon than it is to your Venus. They could run on both, but they're probably more than likely they'll be probably electric. IRS will not process employee retention credit until 2024. The extended strong labor market was the result of ERC. Okay, so it's artificial. When I saw the Chat GPT and the quote unquote breakup of the supply chain, the only way to make up for that without dramatically increasing prices is automation. So you're going to see more automation. You have to make the workforce more efficient. If that was the case, and if they wanted to fight us, they'd have done it already. So it doesn't really matter. So one or two things: either they don't exist or they're already factored into our existence. We're just not aware of it. So, do you think that the West will ever truly care about its boys, men? I think the cat is out of the bag at this point, especially when women will generally vote based on two emotional topics. Basically, as long as the men will accept it and put up with it, I think they will. But at some point, guess what? If the contract's broken, men don't have to accept the contract. They can go do their own thing. So it's not about society. You're part of society. If you put up with it and you go along with it, then it'll keep going. But the reason that they're starting to change it already is because men are not accepting it. Men will rather sit on their hands. They think they're gonna wave pussy in front of you, and that's gonna control you. It never has, and it never will. We're technologically backwards. We're only just moving up the galactic systems. How do you know? How do you know? Unless you're an alien, you don't know. You don't know. People, it's one thing we can guess, we can go by literature, but thing is, how the hell do we know? Unless you've been on that ship and you've been out there, you went through a black hole, you've been to another civilization and come back, you don't know. We don't know. How do we know? If Nick Fury can marry a skull, then why can we smash a purple bitch? That's true. If we haven't already. I want the ship they came on. And looking at the artifacts, those things are like thousands of years old. So the artifact is probably not here anymore. Worst case scenario, the aliens are similar to the scrolls from Marvel Comics. Yeah, well, if we can find them. Do people realize how hard it is to be a trans feminist, anti-patriarch, non-conforming black womanist when the economy fails? Okay, it's hard to be that now. Okay, it's hard to be that now. They're just not admitting it. The thing is, they're cushioning the women's blow with the economy. What happens when the automation really kicks into gear? They're losing their freaking jobs. Okay, they can't go out there and swing that axe or swing that hammer, and they know it. I already see it, man. All them chicks are looking for husbands right now. I just want to give you your flowers. It'll be just with you, Obsidian, Dr. Sign, and others, brothers. I wouldn't know about these opportunities. And tech, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. You thoughts on the UAW strike? I don't think it'll last long. They can't really. They really can't. It's an election year too. They can't. The Biden administration cannot afford to have a freaking strike going into 2024. That is not a good look. Okay, that is not with all the other stuff roaming around. You can't afford to put people out of work, man. That is not a good look. All right, I'll take the last couple questions, then we're out of here. Marriage at that level. Okay, business can. Okay, yep, it is. Marriage has always been about business. People have made marriage into something that shouldn't be because you don't need children for labor anymore. So the biggest need for marriage went out when you took people off the farm. Okay, the biggest reason for getting married is producing children for labor. If you don't need that, then you really don't need marriage. You really don't. And if you have the government taking care of you when you get old, you really don't need you don't need that stuff. Okay, my family, it's me and my brother that have children. Everybody, the other three kids out of the five, they don't have any children. You know, they don't have any kids. So, so basically, and trust and believe, man, I got three kids and five grandkids. Okay, you don't get me. I mean, out of just love and procreation, man, you don't get much value out of your children. You really don't, man. They're very expensive. Okay, and even as an adult, you get very little from your children, man. You don't. So I can see. You know, So marriage, marriage is if both people need the marriage, then the marriage stays together and the marriage works. When neither party needs the marriage, guess what? Then it depends on how happy I am. Nobody's gonna sign up for that, especially men. Men have never really needed marriage, man. They never have. They never really needed marriage outside of labor. If they don't need a chick to produce children for labor, men don't need marriage. Basically, my thing is, if it's transactional, go ahead and flood the market with all the pussy, man. Uh, um, what is it? What was it? Economies of scale makes it cheaper, supply and demand. Go ahead to them chicks, flood the market. Okay, flood the market with pussy. Put it on the street. Put it in brothels, whatever, right? Flood the market. If I trust and believe, man, if we had a thriving red light district, marriage would go further south than it already is because uh, I was watching and listening to this psych chick talk about white chick talking about marriage and all the things that a man has to do to keep his wife happy, man. I listened to all this shit. I said, why the hell would anybody sign up for that shit? Okay, that's worse than a job. Being married to a modern woman is worse than a fucking job. Who's gonna sign up for that shit? It's better to go ahead and make your money and get two jobs rather than coming home to a chick and kids and have to put up with I'm not happy and blah 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 and I'm gonna cheat on you and I don't get sex and I don't want to give sex and I'm having to fuck that. Give me, I'd rather have a part-time job and go home. You know, every time I had a chick and kids, man, and it's been several times, man. That's why I'm a monk, man. The fucking emotional labor of having a woman is incredible, and you don't notice that until you get away from it, man. When you get away clean, and then especially at my age, and then say, how come you don't have a woman? I said, okay, woman would be nice. Companionship would be nice. Having some sex 2-3 times a week would be nice. But the thing is, I got to talk to her, and she got to tell me about her problems and she got to tell me about her bad day and how she's feeling and this and that and other and this. It's like, what, the care and feeding of a chick in other words, you might get say if on a good day you get an hour of sex out of her, man, you got to talk to her for 7 to make up for it, and listen to her talk for 7 to make up for it. And most of the shit she's saying has, you know, she repeats stories and she tells you about how she feels and all. Yeah, she's like, man, let me watch the game. Uh, let's see. All right, scroll down. Yeah, you gotta talk to her. I mean, if people want to have a woman, I have no problem with them having having a woman. I got no problem with it. But that's and I if people if you need to have a woman, you need to have a whole bunch of sex all the time and in-house pussy. I ain't got no problem with it, man. I just can't do it no more. Okay, I was 50, God, 55, 56, and I broke up with my last chick, man, on Valentine's Day, and she cut up, she showed her ass, man, and I took her out to eat. I dropped her off. I gave her a gift. And I told her, baby, I can't do this no more. And I ain't dated since, man. I've had offers. I had all kind of shit. I ain't dated since. I am not even interested, man. Had little Latina chicks that need a husband, all kind, approaching y'all. You know what? I don't need it. Okay, I have no need for it. Ain't got no need for it. I used to call it throwing up on me when I used to be just downloading. Yes. New phenomenon, couldn't psychiacs video. Do we carry more emotional labor? No, we carry the same, man. It's always been that way. Okay. Thing is that when they call it emotional labor, they referring to how you relate to women and how you show emotions to and speech to women. Okay, female talk, right? Okay, when you're sitting there stoic and she's talking, right? Um, and you want to poke your eyeballs out. That's emotional labor. When she's having a bad day and you're responsible for cheering her up and taking her out and all that kind of shit. That's you having a bad day. Okay. She's squawking about the trash going out. And that's not what it is. She's just frustrated because she's unhappy. You know, I ain't going on a vacation. I haven't had a date weekend, and we haven't had the proper amount of sex. I don't feel pretty. Oh gosh, I got that. I got work 12 hours. I work 60 hours a week. I got this is true, man. I was working 55, 60 hours a week. Had two small children. I was tired half the time. I had very little time for myself. And this bitch is complaining about she don't feel pretty, don't feel happy. If you don't get the entire fuck out of my face, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. And had to ship them around, watch them, clean up behind them, all kind of shit, man. And she's not fulfilled. I don't want to hear that shit. Okay. Every chick I ever been with is always some kind of bullshit about, and they get bored and they start shit. Yeah. And she's married to the game. That's true. That's I gotta find that from Pimp God. I think it got erased and when they deleted one of his channel. I tell Pimp God to actually reproduce that again because he said it. That's what it said. She married to the game, not to you. I'm a heartbreaking black pillar. I'm not. I'm saying, I mean, if you need a woman and to be around, and my partner, my best friend, before God rest his soul, he had to have a family, he had to have a wife, he had to have kids. He was married 3 times, okay, with kids, okay, 3 times. I said, dude, why you keep doing this to yourself? He said, because I'm not happy unless I'm married with a family. That's okay. There's a lot of shit he had to put up with to be married. And I'm looking at him and I said, man, I can't do it. I can't do it. One set of kids. Okay. One set of kids, one woman, you know, and that's a whole show in itself, right? I tried to find another woman, and shit like that. Then when you had 2 women competing for the same guy, really 3 women competing for the same guy, but that's another story. Um, It was a headache, man. That's how come I went Gnostic, man. I had to handle that shit, man. It got to be too much. And women are devious, man. Women are very devious. So pregnancy scares all just it was a fucking nightmare, right? So so trust and believe, man. Um, being with women, they're wonderful creatures. Being in love is wonderful, man. That's the upside. Having sex, holding her, being comfortable with her, feeling love, and all that kind of whooshy feel that you feel, the comfort of being around you, not being alone, all that, it's all great. Okay, until it isn't. Anyway, man, that's last questions, man. I got to get out of here. I don't think Gigi's up, but I got to do something with Rom tonight, and um, I did almost 5 hours last night, so I am not I am not my 100% myself, but I wound up going mini monk for a while. I think women can only deal with them in small servings. I hear that a lot. Actually, that is very profound because that's what's going on with 61% of guys, the young guys, right? COVID gave them a break, gave them like a year break where they couldn't date, they really couldn't have sex that much, and they really couldn't interact with women that much. And what they found out when it came out the other side, you can hear it. He said women are insufferable. They want too much. They talk too much. Uh, they get on my nerves. Blah blah blah. All the stuff they were doing. I said we're not doing this anymore. Okay. Well, I need to go out with $150 dinner, bitch. I'm gonna meet you at Starbucks. We're gonna have a coffee. If I don't like what I'm seeing, you pay for your coffee. Okay. All these demands, all these questions, all it's like a fucking interview. You're not hiring me. Okay. You're not even paying me. A lot of guys said, you know what, video games and porn. And fuck it. And I don't have to put up with that shit. If you're cool and I'm cool, we date, we hook up, we like each other, we'll get together. If not, guess what? I am not put up with an insufferable bitch anymore just to say I have a woman. And they're not. That's what's happening. The wall of indifference, right? That is the wall of indifference. I don't care. Other YouTubers. What is other YouTubers? I have no idea what other YouTubers mean. My last question is since I'll just email it to you. Okay. Uh I was going 6 months one place in a relationship. It just gets more difficult to even care about dating at some point. Yeah, when your testosterone levels out to the point where it's not driving you like a drug fiend. Yeah. So I am nearing where you are divorcing to the labor. I'm fucking tired. Finalizing this week. Oh shit. Okay. It is thing is that they don't teach us how to deal with the emotional stress because they women do not understand male psychology or male emotions, right? They're supposed to be emotionally intelligent. They're probably the least emotionally intelligent creatures I've ever met. There's something that they're wired to do to pick up on things, but thing is, when it comes to adult emotional intelligence, they're probably the least intelligent creatures. They're the most self-centered creatures I've ever seen, right? Okay, you see the dude walk in sad, and you're pissed off with him because he's sad because you're not getting your feelings, you're getting your needs met. I said, "You done bitch, right?" Motherfucker just walked in from working 70 hours a week and dealing with the kids, and all you can think about is I'm not being fulfilled. Get the entire fuck out of here. That's not being emotionally intelligent. No, they don't care. Well, the thing is, okay, their their biology tells them I care about myself and my offspring and less about you. Okay, that's what their biology tells them. They follow their biology like 90% of the time. That's why I don't get mad at them because that's the way they're wired. So I understand them. But thing is that when they turn that shit back on, let's talk about emotional intelligence. That's why I fire back. Okay, it's dumb shit. Dr. T's getting ready. He's gonna ready to write a. Um, he did a whole seminar on that like maybe a year and a half ago, right? He's gonna write a piece. I think he's gonna publish a piece on that. I'm trying to get him to write a book on it because it needs to go out into the academic press, right? Because we could talk about the thing is if it doesn't make it into the psychological journals and the academic press, it does no good. We have to change policy. And men have to be accounted for because men understand it because we look at sports, we look at the military, look at all these male centered, well dominated arenas. Men understand male emotional intelligence. Women do not. They see it as oppression. They see it as being mean. They see it as hate, and it's not. It's different. I see that when I have to exercise that on my boys because they see it as me being cruel to them until they see the improvement in the child. So, oh, now I see what he's doing. The thing is, it doesn't come till later. But anyhow, let me get out of here. I thought this presentation was phenomenal. Okay, appreciate you. Should ours it said they should stop marrying at 14. I couldn't stop laughing. Re- and it's getting worse because the millennials and the Z's, they have this delayed maturity, and these chicks are fucking insufferable, man. Just to listen to them, it's really ridiculous. Anyhow, y'all, let me get out of here, man. It's been like an hour and 15 minutes, and I am going to eat something and take a nap. So I gotta do something with Rom later on. So I'm gonna relax. And let me see if I got anybody else to thank, and then I'm gonna let you guys go and enjoy the rest of your day. Okay, Michael, thank you, and Ernest, thank you. So until next time, for Monday, what do you guys want to hear about, man? Because we can relationships, politics. What do you guys want to hear? Uh, Tech, what is it? So I mean, there's a bunch of things. That's why it's been for life. uh, Education. All right. We'll look into it. We'll look into education. Uh, Finance. Uh, yeah. Well, money is really up in the air right now, especially with the breakup of the whatchamacallit, with the supply chain, global supply chain. Okay, they're dividing it up. So um, basically, the price is going to go up. Okay, inflation is going to go up. It's going to stress the banks out. So in fact, people already started stop buying houses. So we have to see what's going to happen, man. Hopefully it doesn't collapse completely like a slow drawdown. But the thing is, you never know. You never know with jobs. Okay, some more history. And depends what history depends. Global shit. Well, global shit is normally on my um, uh, said young esoteric stuff. One thing I think I'm working with, I think I mentioned I'm working with my guys on my Patreon. And see, is this is something that Young did. And see if I can type it in and present it. If you're reading a red book, this is how Jung started accessing his this is how Jung started accessing his whatchamacallit. Let's see, we open it in open image, a new tab. Here we go. See, present. And this is something I'm going through my folks with. Something I'm going through my folks with right now is the mandalas, right? Jung got into drawing mandalas, right? And geometric shapes and different kind of stuff and images, right? He said that opened up his anima, and it had him connect with his unconscious. So I'm having my folks download apps just coloring in mandalas and seeing how it helps them connect with their animals. So that's one thing that we're working on right now. If you read the red book, it'll tell you about his experience with his drawing mandalas and how it helped him get in contact with his unconscious and actually expanded his work. So if you're reading it, that's just a hint. So geopolitics. Africa, most of that stuff will be on Patreon, right? Because what's going on in Africa right now is really, really sensitive, and these people are really, really sensitive about this kind of information. So even on Patreon, they're sensitive. But I only do that kind of bleeding edge work on Patreon because this shit, it's in real time, and these motherfuckers are sensitive about information, right? Especially coming from somebody like me. So that's where that's going to be. White flight from Jim Max from Action. Really, they're trying to change the balance by importing people. Remember, Latinos used to be classified, or still classified as white. Uh, they might be they might be Latino white, but they're still classified as white. So they're changing the balance. So that's what they're trying to do. Secondly, importing people. Anyhow, learning sacred geometry that does help too. Those are shapes, but to try coloring the mandalas, just the shapes, the unconscious shapes and stuff like that, will help you go in contact with your unconscious, with your anima and your collective unconscious. Anyhow, all right, folks, I will see you guys next time. Thanks for the Cash App, for the donations. I appreciate y'all, and thanks for your time. Hit your like button on the way out, please. But with that, I will see you guys next time. Peace.